Hello, 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 hello. All right, hello. All right, I'm sorry. I'm back. I apologize for that. You know, yeah, sometimes things happen. I don't know, man. Look like the devil don't want me to tell my story. Um, but like anything, you don't have no control over it. Back to what I was saying though a little earlier. I was I went through the whole thing of I guess basically um just um just basically with the ups and downs of being told that we're gonna work it out and then wasn't work it out and then she threw a birthday party. The birthday party came and bam, there it was. um didn't know, saw pictures and she couldn't deny it. So when I spoke to her, her defense was, I'm sorry. I knew what it was for me is when she said, I had the party, but it was already paid for. And if I would have explained that to you, I knew it would have been a problem. Um, at that at that moment of time, through all the other events that had maybe occurred that I didn't pay attention to, um, that was very significant to me. It was significant to me. Um, and this is the thing I want, some young men that's going through the process or it looks like they're going through divorce until it's actually sealed and done, work for your marriage. Um, me personally, I think marriage is a beautiful thing when you are with the right person. Um, it truly is. And I can honestly say in the time that I was in, when I was married at that time, that was until me evolving to who I am now. That was the best version of me that I evolved. Not because of her, it was just because that's the person I wanted to become. I had a real responsibility. Um, so that says a lot. And I just think when a lot of women do when they complain, my thing is it's really not hard. Like you you the difference between men and women, I say this all the time, is when we walk into a situation, we already know who you are. We don't we're not trying to change you. We know exactly everything that comes along with you. The goods, the bads, the pros, the cons, everything. We know who you are. And we are for us, I use the word you buy it, you break it. That's how we feel. Everything about you. We don't have any complaints. I think we live in a time of today's of a lot of people delusion that they sit and they think, well, I want this and I was expecting this and I was expecting that. Um, we have a lot of these off-topic shows because a lot of people come on and they're, basically having their version of the narrative of what they want. Um, and what they think a man should be or a husband should be. And everything you do, it takes work every day, every second is work. Marriage, the reason why marriage is so great, and when I see people who are married a very long time, I take my hats off of them, whether young or old or however, because marriage is a choice. You choose to be married to that person every day. Every day you wake up, it's a choice to be with that person. So I think going back to what I was saying when that situation happened for me, I great, thank you, Adam. Um, I came to the realization that you chose to do all those things to me. You chose to do these things knowing that there was a chance or great that um, I was trying my best to knowing that I wanted this, and you pulled at my heartstrings. Um, and that is the worst thing for me. Um, the way I looked at it was next to, God, my kids, your marriage, your wife, your husband is supposed to be your person. Like, not your mama, not your daddy, not nobody. Your wife was supposed to be that person. Um, and it literally is a thing of betrayal. Because that person is supposed to protect you, and you're supposed to protect that person. Um, as you see, it's things that it's not what you see, it's what you don't see behind, you know, closed doors. And I think that men, the way we love is different. Um, that's why, with certain things and certain signs now, me and myself, I pay attention to. With people, they a lot of the things of outwardly validation and things of that nature. All of that is good, but it's the things that when I ain't around, I want to know how you talk about me. I saw something the other day. It was kind of like a TikTok, and it was so true. So the man said, when me and my wife, before we got married, we was dating, and he said one day we had got into a big fight, big fight, big argument, and in the midst of us arguing, I said to her, um, we was talking, and I asked her, I said, "Hey, what's up? Where you going?" He said, "Because she was looking, she was acting really funny, she was acting off put." Um, he said, I said, hey, so she says, why I asked the question. So if something happened when we're having beef and we're arguing, who are the five people that you talk to? And she went and named the five people that she talks to. And so she asked him, well, who are the five people that you talk to? So he named his five people. But the difference between his five people and her five people was my five people that I talk to are the people that mostly are on your side. And when I say on your side, that doesn't mean that saying that you're right and I'm wrong. We're saying that whatever needs to happen, fix it. Fix it. Whatever needs to happen, fix it. Your five people are the first ones to say, girl, you ain't got to deal with that. Or girl, if I was you, I would do this. And I told you, you if you trying to be married, hear me clearly. If you're trying to be married, if you have those people that's your confident, that's in your ear, you need to get rid of them, or you're not ready to be married. If you have five people like that, and they're not advocating for your marriage, you need to get rid of them. Um, Regardless if they like the person or they don't like the person. Um, this is where we at. We here. Um, and this is the things that you fight for and you advocate. Now, again, going back to my story, that happened. She apologized, but by this time, I was like, man, I don't trust you. Like, I'm looking at you crazy. Um, the very next month, somebody hit me up on Facebook, like, hey, you all right? Just checking on you. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Wow, what's up? They were like, well, I saw that such and such changed her name, and I know the divorce is final. And I was like, what do you mean the divorce is final? Now, mind you, the funny part, I spoke to her that day. Me and her talked that day. We were supposed to go out to lunch or something. And she didn't tell me we had a hearing. They had a hearing, and it was like, yeah, she was there. They closed it out. They granted her the divorce, and that was that. And I'm like, you mother. It hurt, but it didn't hurt as bad as this time because for me now, at the same time, I'm really one of those people. Once I know who you are, I'm I'm believing you. It hurt me. It disappointed me. Um, because for me, I'm gonna say it again. Um, I, grew up as much as things that, when I grew up, I did a lot of things. But for me, I'm gonna be totally honest and transparent. I don't feel any kind of way because I was dating and, not saying that, the people that hurt or whatever happened in those relationships didn't work. It wasn't the same because I wasn't married. Um, that's for me. In my head, when I knew that I decided I was gonna be married, that was it. I was gonna be married. I took that personally. I took that seriously. Um, and again, if I would have known that the person was going to change up on me during the doing the worst, like they were good for the better but left for the worse, and was good for the richer and want to leave for the poor, I wouldn't have got married. I want to take it so personal. You understand what I'm saying? Um, those are the things that you have to look forward to. Um, it literally is that. It's kind of like a life or death situation because you're investing, um, and you're creating a culture. Because not only that, um, so a little bit going back, again, I don't want to go into too much details, but how it, for me, it affected me such on a micro scale because my grandfather passed away in June. Um, we, going through whatever, we sold our house. My grandfather passed away, we sold the house. Then, same year, my mother passed away. Mother passed away. My father is a widow. So I'm dealing with all these things, and I still haven't dealt with any one of those singular things. One, it's just that I'm in survival mode. It's just, okay, this happened. I have to compartmentalize and put that on hold for a second because this here happened. And it literally um it literally broke me, um, to say the least. Um, even the point when my mother passed away, the energy, it was like, look, do you have any kind of compassion or understand that at the end of the day, how I look at it, like we're still family. Um, I still have an obligation to you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure that you're good because we spent years together. Like like we didn't have any biological kids, but your kids was my kids. Like I took them on. Um, and those things like that, um, it 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 changed me. Um, I say all of, and that's another thing I don't think a lot of women understand. When it takes a lot for another man to come in and to help raise a child that's not his. Not only to help raise, but to take on that responsibility of doing that. You understand what I'm saying? It's a big. It's I don't a lot of men or stepfathers get a lot of credit because it's not just because I've seen situations where they be like, well, that's her kid. They ain't got nothing to do with me or they disrespect me. There again, I was raised in a certain way that, I have cousins who was married and their kids, they're my cousins. Like they're my family. That's how I was raised. And it just came to the fact that after that, it was like you divorced me, the kids divorced me, and I'm looking like, wow, that's whoa. And I was trying to, and all of that, I'm trying to comprehend, and I'm trying to take also in the fact that my father at the time he lost a person 32 years of his life. He's trying to deal with this. And I'm watching him change, and I'm watching him mentally deteriorate to a certain extent because the person that you wake up every day to have a certain, aspects of how you move every day is gone. On top of, people, certain people, family members taking advantage. I am dealing with all of these things. Um, on top of that, even, I had to be honest, even deterioration between my kids, my daughter, my baby. To her, she don't understand that, like, daddy's not coming around because every time daddy come around, it's constant reminder, and I'm broken, I'm crying, and I don't want to be like this to you. And I want you to be with your, you know, want you to be happy. I don't want you to see me, but in her mind, I don't care. I just want to see my dad. These are all things that I had to endure, um, um, deal with, in silence. Um, at the time, I must say I had, um, you know, certain people, two people. I always say I give them kudos. I take my hats. I thank y'all, and I love them to the end of back because a lot of times, man, I was trying to check out, and it wasn't just that; it was just the whole totality of things because I it was hard for me to get out of my head of this person that in your mind you're thinking, up until this point, everything that you do, everything that you're supposed to work through, um, and you cultured in that y'all work through it. Like it was supposed to be at one point that was like divorce is never an option. And that's what you think and that's how you believe. But it was a lie. How do you change that? You become hurt, you become bitter, you you become very cynical. Um and I had to step away from things. I had to step away from people because um and the bigger picture, long run, it's not like that through everybody. It's not. But at that time, once you dealing with it, it's hard to come out of it. It's so hard to come out of that. You know, on top of that, the house that I had that I grew up with all my life, we had to sell it. No, because at the time, again, I told you my father, he's going through his thing. He didn't care. And it's like everything that I had, everything that I knew that was um we always have a compass, like a moral compass. Everything that I had that I knew that I could come back to. If this didn't happen, I always had this, or I had this, or I had that. I could go to that, and it was like all gone, like in a blink of an eye. How how do you how do you work through that? Um, a lot of that you work through that by looking in the mirror, um, praying, having hard conversations, um, going to see help. I had to go see someone. Um, and I tell everybody all the time, it's okay, man. It's okay for us to have emotional moments, but it is very frowned upon for us to be emotional. It's times that hell I wanted to go on Facebook and I want to say my feelings and all of that, and I get mad or I see some things and I would get triggered, and I just wanted to just, but through my upbringing and things in life lessons, I understood that at the end of the day, it don't matter. At a certain point, your story is your story, and at a certain point, it don't matter what happened. It don't matter about who believe what. It don't matter about how they feel about you. It don't matter. Um, because for the simple fact of it is, at the end of the day, once it all happens and it all goes crashing down, you are only responsible for you. Um, so um, back, even to the point that this is part of the reason why I started my podcast. This is why at first, a lot of people thought it was going to be kind of uncomfortable for me to even have this conversation, but because this is uncomfortable in-house conversation with HB, that I would not be authentic if I wasn't able to have this conversation. I just had to do it within the um, of the time that was ready. You understand what I'm saying? That I was ready, um, and I can be authentic, and I wanted to do it from a healed place, not from anger, because I don't want to bash anybody. I just want to be able just to tell my truth and just say what it is, and I think that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Um, just taking you through that journey of my thought process of what happened. Um, So, one thing, like I said, the kids, that really hurt me because my because I'm not even gonna say stepdaughter, that's my daughter. It was very close, very close, and it's all those things again. Like I said, you have to deal with that. You have to internalize that, and you can't. You know, it's almost for betrayal because at one point you looking at the child, you want to be mad at the child, but then you really can't get mad at the child. Um, because again, they're gonna follow their paternal parent. I'm not like that. My son, like, I want, like, if they have a relationship, they still have a relationship. I don't say anything, no matter how I feel. I had to, have understandings of what the triggers are for me. Um, Understanding that me giving myself grace. I do that a lot now. I'm not Superman as much. Sometimes, I give myself a pat on the back, but I have moments, and it's okay. I have friends that go through things, and I have to be able to compartmentalize, um, and not let things so much trigger me. Also too, if you guys follow me, I had a really good friend, family member of, it's like a family member of mine. Um, Within, while I was married, he committed suicide. Um, that that started some internal things to me too. Because he was broken. And it started from him. Kind of going into, in his mind, he thought his marriage was kind of similar to mine. She was doing this and doing that, and because by God's grace, I was healed. I was able to decipher from what was real and what was not, and not let allow that to take me so much left to an emotional state. um, because it could have. Um, I just now just have to focus on the fact that my friend, my brother, it's just unfortunate that you allow these feelings to overcome, to get that bad in your head that you didn't understand that your place in this world is way more important than you're gone. Um, One thing, I try to tell people all the time is there's always another day. There's always another day to be able to, um, what's the word? To start again, to make it better, to make it worse, but it's always another day. It's up to you. Um, the thing is, me releasing my pain and the bond that I had with that person. Um, that's something that nobody else talks about either. To be able to let that go. It's hard. Um, Something that you have with somebody, the things that you shared, the intimacy times, the memories, just the small things. It's hard. You have to, from a man's point of view, we don't get to talk about those things. Um, and, just healing in certain ways that it's not the same for women. You know what I mean? Um, oh, wow. Um, Pause. Hey Audra, how you doing? Let me, question: why is it that you feel that you failed in your divorce? And if you don't mind me asking, did you file for divorce or did he file for divorce? Because that's interesting. Because not get me wrong, it's just, again, I'm just speaking from my point of view, from a man's point of view. I'm not a woman, so I don't know. I've heard that women say that they feel like they failed. Just want to know. And it's a lesson. Sometimes it's a hard lesson. It's a story. All right, cool. No pressure. Maybe, like I said, I want to have a part two. Maybe I'm gonna get, a divorced woman and a divorced man on, and we have conversation. And yes, Etta, money does change a lot. Um, I read the thing about infidelity or whatever. A lot of that you can, truth of the matter, you can get through anything. Infidelity. I've seen people done had outside babies, outside kids. It's not what you do, it's how you do things. And grief definitely changes everything. But when it comes to funds, it does. But that's the thing where, I think that's what they say when they say God put in these vows for rich and for poor, for better, for worse, for sickness and health. That covers everything. So these are things that saying that this will happen. These are things um that will happen in your marriage. That's why they say when you get to, I think, a 2 3 year thing, it's a thing that happens where you might not recognize each other. You get to a pause where things change, and that's when you have to go reevaluate things. I will say this: if there's some things that I could have changed, instead of trying to be so quiet and protective about things, maybe I would have went to maybe my grandparents, or maybe I would have went to my parents, or some other people and just had a sit down and had a conversation. Um, Maybe I would have done those things. Maybe I should have done those things. Right now I'm thinking back, I'm taking responsibility for things. Things that I could have done better. Um, Maybe um, when I saw things going a little left, maybe I could have sat down and maybe forced more of a conversation. Um, there, but at the end of the day, I just truly feel it was a decision that was just already made, and overall, there was nothing I could do when it came down to it. I just felt like that person just looked at like it was a check on the box, and I've done that, and this doesn't fulfill or suit my needs anymore. So I'm moving on to bigger and better things. Um, uh, yeah, like I said, the regrets, I just said that the regrets is maybe I should have paid attention to more detailed things. I should have paid attention to when certain things, as we were dating, certain things that people was telling me concerning this person, and not what they do as a person, but dealing with certain situations. That's very important, y'all. Um, it's very important to understand that listen to people when they talk about when they go through certain life changing situations, how they act and how they deal with it. Because if you got a person that when they deal with situations that when the rubber meet the road, they run, or they choose themselves, that's a very big red flag. You understand what I'm saying? If you ain't got a person that's willing to stay and do the work, and I don't mean no person that's trying to take advantage of you. And I'm not talking about no person that's a sorry man or a woman. I shouldn't have to say that, but we live in a time that we do have to say things like that. I'm talking about a person like you and this person going through, like even if point like literally like if we get to the point we homeless, I don't give a damn. Even if we sit in a car together, um, and we sleep, like we should be able to do that, and we get through that together. Thanks, Brad. What's up? Brad is one of my childhood friends. Again, one of my good friends. Him and his parents, my parents, his parents was friends, so he know to himself uh how it is because it ain't always pretty. Marriage ain't pretty. That's not what it's about. You know what I'm saying? What it's about is you have somebody that again when the rubber meet the road, I got that person. Um, it's very influential and those things to me it stuck to me and it's a lot of things that changed um, that I didn't see maybe part of my arrogance and things and yep, health changes everything too, but at the end of the day it should, because I'm gonna say it again, as men, we know exactly what we're doing. What are the signs for you and me that you begin to heal from the divorce? Um, Again, like I said, I one of the things that I had to start doing is understanding that this person is going. Ain't no coming back. Ain't no coming back. Um, it's done. They made a conscious decision to do this. Do you understand? Like when I read all the papers, do you know how much signing and reading you have to do to go to do a divorce, it ain't like one paper. Like that means that's something that you wanted to do. I, for me, it's always small things, small details to me that makes me come to the realization of things. Because you really had to go out your way to do that because this was something you already knew. Well, the fact that when we sold the house and disingenuously, I did not know. Would I've gone back? Would I? Okay, so before, if we wouldn't have went through the divorce, if she had, and we, because the thing was, when I was telling the story, we was trying to work through it. But after the divorce is over, hell, absolutely not. This is my point that I'm saying. It took a lot to do those papers, to sign, to go through those hearings. It's something that you wanted to happen. You wanted to basically, you're telling me you wanted to be free. And I can't do nothing but respect that. I might not like it, and this is to heal me. I had to respect that, and it's okay. But I ain't fucking with. I'm not messing with you no more. Um, period. It's it's just simple as that. I'm just not. I wish you the best over there, but as far as me and you, no, I'm good on that. You know what I mean? I am. Um, when it comes down to it. Um, into my ultimate belief in whether or not um, the thing is question is kind of like, will I ever love like that again? Because again, that's one of the things. Kind of like, how they tell you when the stove is hot, like, do you want to touch it? Like, "Ah, it's too hot, don't touch it." I question that. Like, seriously, like it. That's why I say for men, it takes a lot out of us. And I'm not saying it doesn't for y'all. I'm just speaking for me. Right now, this is a man, going through the divorce. Absolutely, I would get married again. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, before we got disconnected, marriage is a beautiful thing. When you're with the right person. Um, it is. At one point, when I wasn't here, I was in some. Why in the heck would I go do something crazy like that again? You understand what I'm saying? Like, why would I put myself through that? But the thing is, I would ask nowadays if it was a young man or if I had my son in front of me, he said he want to get married. I would ask, like, what would it be, what would it benefit you to get married? And this is nothing personal, but you have to ask these things for a man. What would I benefit from being married now? Because in the worst case scenario, logically, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose everything. And I just read the stats of what happened to me. And why would I put myself through that? How would I? Um, the dynamic with the kids, and my ex. I think now they don't talk so much. Slowly but surely, I think she started her own life, and again, it was the same with me, so I didn't take it personal. It was kind of like they didn't fit in her narrative, so to speak. And this is just my personal opinion. So there's really I don't think there's no relationship at all. I really didn't ask them. I know um, I took that L for a minute. My daughter, she felt the way because she didn't understand. And again, you have to have these uncomfortable conversations. My son, he's old now, he's grown now, he gets it. I never asked him how he felt about it, but I'm the one that was dealing with it. I'm the one that had to, I had to go through it. I had to live it, um, and and things of that nature. Um, just also too, just dissolving of just the extended families, because again, it's not just my just our immediate family. It's her family, her cousins. Her cousins was my cousins. I you know I've never had a conversation with any of them or asked them. I can imagine what they think or how they feel, or I don't know. Maybe they want to ask questions, or maybe they don't. Maybe they want to. I don't know. I just kind of, left it as that. As time went on, I just, you know, did it. One of the things I felt the way about, like, the year before that, my daughter was a junior. She had homecoming. I went and handled everything. Like, literally, just me by myself handled everything. Mom was working, and I was there, did everything. Took her homecoming, everything. Got out a date, everything. The very next year, within was the divorce year. It was kind of like she wanted me just to go away. I'm asking my daughter's her birthday, like, when she had a party behind my back. I didn't know. Um, it was the graduation. She told me she didn't have enough tickets, and then I turn around, I see all these other family members. It was like literally you wanted me to disappear, and I think more or less it made it easier for me to understand more or less who that person was, who she's evolved to be, than for me to take anything personal. And then I understood that it wasn't me. That was just her, and it made it easy for me to just say, okay, you've done everything that you can do from your point of view, from a man's point of view. Um, you have to let this go. Um, and I always say, um, at the end of the day, I would, have mind games to myself, and I say, man, my mom's gone. Like, if my mom died, and I had to go through that, there's nothing that I can't deal with. Like, I, you know, I should be able to. I should be able to deal with it. It's a different kind of hurt, but at the same time, it hurts nonetheless. Um, I think more than anything for me, you can see how callous, um, and uh, not even mean spirit, just callous and just very calculated some women can be. Um, just you would, like, the person you think, like, I would have died, like I would die for, like I would have died for you, and they looking at you like, what? For me, it felt like, to be very transparent, it felt like this person that I cared about took and stabbed me in the back, but turned around and looked me in my face, and with that same knife, took it out of my back and stabbed me in my heart and pushed me in my grave, and covered me up and walked away. But didn't cover me up all the way. That's how much, like, she didn't think about me. You understand what I'm saying? And it took time for me to heal from those stab wounds, those cuts, and to dig myself out the grave and get to the point that I am now. Um, I just there are things that that we do, um, when it's healing. Trying to heal, that I did, trying to heal. I was at one point, I was very destructive. I was very destructive. I was making a whole lot of poor decisions, um, very um, scary decisions. I was angry. Um, I was angry, because I didn't think, it felt like no one cared, no one listened, no one thought to say, "Hey, how are you?" And I mean, just even personally, I'm even talking about my family members. Um, I remember, at one point in time, I had an uncle. Um, I was going through whatever, and he kind of reached out to me, said something like, I had it was a car accident, um, and I made it through. And instead of saying, "Hey, nephew, you okay?" It was kind of like, "Hey, you need to change your life, and you need to do better." And I'm just the first of all, bro, you've been married 3 to 4 times. Um, and you're supposed to be a pastor. And this is no disrespect, because I love my uncle, but this is my feelings at the time that I felt. And it was like, you couldn't even have the enough to respect to come to me and see, or just know the type of person I am. Or maybe the truth of the matter is, I also, the way I look at things is, people treat you how they think and how they feel about you. Doesn't make it right, don't make it wrong. I'm in a place in the season where I am where I'm just honest and transparent about what I say and how I feel. Um, it's not mean, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just that. Um, I wasn't looking, and I didn't want to play victim, and I was really hard on that because it's just that I was just looking for grace. I didn't want you to pat me on the back. I just want to tell something that I do naturally now that I see my friends, my brothers, they go through things like, hey man, you all right? You okay? What you need. If you want to talk, let's talk. Like, and I had to stop also to expecting me from other people. Um, I did. Um, I funny thing, when I was saying, and again, just being transparent. My ex, I loved her, and to be honest, I still love her to a certain extent. I'm not in love with her, but the things that we share, um, the time that we put in, I will always have that thought of her. But when it came down to it, going through it, like I was explaining, like my friend, he passed away, um, and he dealt with, um, and I was, still being there and trying to, let everybody know that, there's no hard feelings or animosity. But I must say, like recently, a couple of months recently, someone decided to reach out to me. And again, I always use the word, I let the devil use me because one of the things that I hate is after a breakup for anything, people love to come out of the woodworks and want to tell you things that they should have told you then, or not tell you at all. And it was for me, it was more or less of a confirmation that things that I knew that this person was doing, that they tried to make out like I was doing, but I've just found out about all these things. And I sat in it and I was, at one point, I got angry and I wanted just, again, like I said, I wanted to, it's emotional and I wanted to blast. But again, it don't even matter. It didn't matter because it shows why this is what happened and this is where we are. Um, and I needed it. I needed all of that to happen. And when I said that I'm healed, I do believe in marriage, man. I do believe, people, you have your person, and it takes work. It's just now I'm a little bit more um, paying attention to more of the small things and less to rush to judge. And also, two things about us men, we love in our mind, we see women. That's why we use the word women being in their feminine energy. We try to save you. And we don't understand that sometimes some people, they're not ready to be saved. They're not ready to come to terms that they have daddy issues or they have these issues. And they have to work through these things before they can even cultivate any kind of significant bond with another person or individual. Because everything isn't about money. Money is a small part. Sex is a small part. Kids a small part. It's a whole totality of things in which that you should be able to do. Um, and again, I say these things and I see these things that happen, and I just want people to understand that it's hard on us. I'm gonna come back with a part two, and more or less, just getting, because I want to have dialogue. I want to get the perspective from other people, women and men, um, that want to understand. Because again, hopefully, I help some people to either stay married or people that's looking to get married to understand how serious this is. And if you're not ready, don't rush anything because it's easy to get yourself into something. It's very hard to get yourself out of it. You understand what I'm saying? And I just want people to be really in a mental health happy place to establish. Money gonna come, kids gonna come, but if you're not mentally um, solid, or have some kind of foundation, whether, I mean, with God or whatever thing that you have to keep you grounded, you too have to build on. If you don't have that, it will crumble. It very well will crumble. And those are the things that I candidly most um, understand. And again, if I'm here to help someone, some brother that's going through it, and understand that, yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hurting. You gotta take responsibility for the part you play in, and also too, um, because again, as a man, I have to take responsibility for the part that I play in. I have to also take responsibility for the part that she didn't play, that maybe I should have um, done better, because that's how serious I took marriage. It's like I am the head, so everything falls on me. Nobody really care. When everything's good, they say, "Oh, she's such a good woman. She do such a good wife. She get all of it." But when things go bad, it's me. Like, what is he doing wrong? Why is it that? Why I can honestly say I built, cultivated a culture in order for her to thrive in, to be the person that even that she is today. Um, I hang my hat on that. Um, because I allowed her to be herself. I never tried to change her. I never tried to um, lower her, dim her light. I always uplifted. Because I knew for a fact, me being the king and my queen behind me, if if I pushed her, she's gonna make me better. And that's all what you want. You want a person that's gonna hold you accountable, a person is that's going to love you through whatever, but also too is gonna have the compassion and um the understanding of who you are as a person. Um, certain things in marriage, and these are things that didn't happen to me, but telltale signs in marriage, there are lines that you don't cross. Um, there are things that you don't say. I always use the word fight fair. You know that there are things, like, it ain't just about physically. You know that there are things that you can say to your spouse that you can't come back from, because that person has told you things that, whatever that subject is that you bring up, how that affected them, that should be off limits. I don't care what is said or what's done. Um, there are things that you can't come back from. Um, there are things that, with your spouse, there are things that other people shouldn't know about your spouse. Only you and that person should know. You shouldn't talk bad about your spouse to nobody. You can express your frustrations, you can talk, but that's your person. You understand what I'm saying? That's your person. And if how bad that person, you talk about that person, that's a reflection of you, because you're actually talking about yourself. And the telltale signs was, in the moment that it became a me versus her, and it wasn't a us anymore, those are things that I should have paid attention to. But, those things that I had to forgive myself for. Um, and I just one of the things I just wanted just to talk about this, just to let people know how it is when it comes to divorce. Um, it's a long process, and it seems like we get over it, but we don't. But I always told myself before I even go back to um, enter and talk about marriage again, I wanted to heal, and I didn't want to bring whatever happened in my previous marriage into my new one. I didn't want to deal with triggers, that things that were maybe similar. You understand what I'm saying? Because this person is a whole new person. You know what I mean? Which AJ, I was told my brother when I was going through a divorce, no longer think with the emotions anymore. Yes, it was about business, seeing if you can come with anything to restart your life, because most men leave with nothing when they did nothing wrong. Absolutely. The reason why we become so emotional because that's when the manipulation happens. That's when they play on your heartstrings. See, again, I always use the word of things. The best thing a woman can do when she's dealing, and that's how she got me through the birthdays and all the other things. All she had to do is cry, cry, and give me some resemblance of what I fell in love with. That's something very, very important. That's where it it becomes very deceitful and hurtful because they know for a fact I'm gone, I'm checked out. But in order for me to get da 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 da, I'm going to give him some kind of resemblance. My mom, God bless her, dead, she told me a woman's best kept secret is in here. I mean, they can take things to the grave without you knowing anything. And that's big for me. And it comes across that you're being cold, and women think we don't care. We do care. So we always thinking, well, I don't want to do her like that, or I don't want to leave. But the whole time they about to do your ass in. Yeah, if you got a kid, you ever been a child support hearing? When I say zero F's given, none, gas. I don't care if you've been paying. They look other way like it's nothing. So these are the things that I just yeah, Jay. These are the things that um we see, we deal with, and I just want other people to and even women, I want y'all to be able to take responsibility and accountability and ask yourself, am I ready for this? Because being married is not that doesn't make you great because you cook, clean. You're doing things that you would do if you ain't married, if you by yourself. I hate a lot of these people, these women, they want to get accolades for something that they're just being an adult. That's no different from a man saying, oh yeah, man, I take care of my. That's what you do. You're an adult. What makes you a great spouse is those vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for sick, the hard work. The time, like I make a joke. I remember times my granddaddy, um, I had the music. It reminded me of him. He would come home, done messed up, drunk, and my grandma would make his plate. Yeah, take that in your granddaddy. Yeah, take that in your granddaddy. Fix it right. He done got finished eating. She would walk in there. Are you done? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to talk. Grab his plate, clean it. Like again, it wasn't love, it was her responsibility, and it was hard. She took pride in that. A lot of women, even men, we don't take pride in that. It's not about everything ain't about love. It's at this point, it's like you having your kid. Like, son, dad, my graduation, blah blah blah. Do you want me to come up? Not really. I don't want to drive way up there, but I am. I'm proud of you, and it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to my daughter to show up. Sometimes I don't want to get up on, but it's my responsibility. That's how marriage should be. It's your responsibility. That person is your responsibility. And you don't get to just because you tired or they get on your nerves or you don't want to do this no more. You, it's an easy way out. That's not what it's supposed to be, you know. So again, I'm going to conclude on this, man. Again, I'm sorry about uh, the streaming. I'm going to work on that. Again, I'm still a work in progress. I appreciate you guys for being here with me through this journey. Jay, hit me up, bro. We got to talk because that's that. I want you to be on my next show. But again, thank you for coming into Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. Appreciate you guys. Thank you and peace.